Okay, this is a full walkthrough of how you reorder your sub-navigation menu items inside of High Level. This is just using CSS code. It's nothing fancy, and I'll walk you through it as simply as I can. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is we need to paste in this global custom code. So we're inside of the agency settings, company, and scroll down to custom CSS, and then you add this code. And what this does is it changes it so that all of these navigation links can be reordered. And then we set a default order of 1 on them. That just makes it easier to move our custom menu items down on the menu. Okay, after that, then let's create a custom menu link. So again, in agency settings, custom menu link, create new. And whatever you want, you can set it agency or account level. Both work just fine. So I've already created this test menu link. So if I come into a sub account, now this is where it gets just a little bit technical. We can see we've already got the test menu link here. And what we need to do is we need to get the ID of that link. So you're going to come into, I'm in Chrome on Mac here. So I can right click on any of these items and then come down to inspect, and that opens developer tools. And there's also inside of the guide instructions, there's keyboard commands for all the different browsers and Windows and Mac. Regardless of your browser, you just need to open developer tools here. And then we come down, okay, right click and inspect on our test menu item. And what we're looking for is this ID. So it's going to be at this href link level. And we can double click into it, and that's going to highlight the ID, and then copy that. And we're going to come back into the custom CSS section area. And then we're going to do, I'm going to copy that in here. Okay, and you just copy the little CSS snippet template that's in the guide. All right, and we're going to replace the custom menu ID with the ID that we copied. Place that. There we go. They want to be really careful to make sure that it has quotes around it like this. That's a common mistake, to accidentally be missing a quote, and then it's not going to work if that's missing. So just make sure it's surrounded with quotes. And the reason we're doing this, if you're familiar with CSS, we're doing it this way instead of doing an ID selector, because High Level is technically using an invalid ID. So CSS IDs can't start with 2 digits, but this will work just fine. So we go, and just for clarity, let's go ahead and we'll set a background color red on this to make it really obvious. Update that and refresh in our sub account. And there we go. We move the custom menu item all the way up to the top. Now, if we wanted to move it to the bottom, because we already set all of the other menu items at the default order of 1, then we could come in and change this to 10 or 100 or whatever, and that's going to move it to the bottom. So this allows you then to go in and reorder all of the menu items if you want. You just need to put in CSS for each of them. Now, the built-in, or the sort of the default menu items in High Level, they do have proper IDs, so it's a little bit simpler. So let's say if we wanted to move marketing towards the bottom, we're going to right click on that, go to inspect, and you can look this all up in the guide as well. I've got a table of all the different IDs. All right, I want to make sure we select the ahref, and here is our ID. So double click on that, we'll select, there we go. Grab the ID and then come back into custom code. And we're going to do the same thing. This one we can keep a little bit simpler because we're targeting the ID. We just need to put a pound sign or a hash in front of it. And now let's move this down to order 2. So CSS Flexbox ordering is relative. So if all the items are set to the same order, then they're just going to go in the default order that they were actually added to the page. And then if you have something that is just one order higher, that's going to move it down. If it's one order less, then it's going to move it to the top. And ordering supports negative numbers. So you can use, so for this one, for our test menu, we can put that -1 to put it up at the top. And we're moving the marketing down to the bottom by just setting 2. But again, this could be 100, it could be anything. Just as long as it's bigger than 1, since we set all the other ones to a default of 1. Now we refresh. There, it moved marketing down to the bottom and our test menu is still at the top. This also makes it really easy then to change any sort of CSS for the menu items like we did here, we'll change it to background red. So you can go crazy and do whatever you want there. You can also set display to none if you want to hide a menu item. And refresh that, and our test menu link should now be gone. So that's it, and this should work fine. Shouldn't break anything in high level. If you're noticing any weirdness or it's not working as expected, then here, let's get our menu link back. Then you just come into the developer tools. So let's refresh this and come in and inspect and make sure then we select, at this Ahref level. And we should see over here in the CSS settings that the order is -1. If you don't see that, it's probably because there's you're missing a character or quotes or something inside of the CSS. All right, hope you find this really useful. Thanks.